country is trying to enforce strong sanctions against Russia, weather the political economic fallout of the Ukraine crisis, and address the pandemic-related inflation and corporate price gouging that's hurting American families. Much is at stake for our country. But Republicans on this committee refuse to show up and vote on 5 nominees to the Fed. They refuse to do their job. This is shameful and it is risky. Any Republican talking today about the risks facing our economy should be willing to show up and vote on Fed nominees. So let's talk about one of those risks, Mr. Chairman. As Russia has invaded Ukraine, the centerpiece of the U.S. response is economic sanctions. The U.S. and its allies have rolled out some of the strongest economic sanctions in history, severely restricting Russia's access to the global financial system by sanctioning the biggest banks and companies, by kicking Russian banks out of SWIFT, the international payments messaging system, and by freezing the Russian central bank's foreign reserves. Now, these sanctions are powerful, but Russia can dodge some of this pain by using the same cryptocurrency tools that are currently used by drug traffickers, cyber criminals, and tax cheats. I'll pick one example here. We've all become familiar with ransomware, where a cyber criminal infects someone's computer system, locks it up, then demands payment in order to unlock the system. And how do they get paid? Through unregulated cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Chair Powell, do you know who cybersecurity experts say is the world leader in ransomware attacks and in getting paid through cryptocurrencies that allow them to obscure and hide their trails?
I could guess, but
you want to make a guess here? Based on what we're talking about today, it's Russia. You know, if you listen to our own national security agencies, the answer is Russia. And that's why when President Biden held an international summit last year to fight ransomware, Russia, the biggest source of the problem, was intentionally not invited. According to one estimate by the blockchain analysis company, Chainalysis, Russia-linked actors collected nearly 3/4 of all ransomware revenue in the world last year. And hundreds of millions of crypto dollars are collected in Moscow each quarter. As much as half of those come from illicit crypto wallet addresses. Russia is the world's expert on moving money outside legal channels. So, Chair Powell, obviously, you do not administer sanctions, but you are an expert on the international financial system. So I just want to take a look at this. Are other countries currently using cryptocurrencies to evade sanctions? I'm thinking here of North Korea, Iran, Venezuela.
Honestly, it's not something we're responsible for. I mean, I have read it. I've read publicly that those things have happened, though, yes.
Well, the Treasury Department, the Department of Justice, the United Nations, and the IMF all say that the answer is yes. Crypto takes the sting out of sanctions. And in fact, the Treasury Department warned last year that crypto could undermine our sanctions regime. Theoretically, the crypto industry is supposed to enforce sanctions as well. So let me ask, Chair Powell, is the crypto industry enforcing sanctions right now?
So what I've read, again, this is really for the Treasury Department, but I've read the same things you have and that you had in your letter, which is some reluctance expressed on the part of the crypto industry to do that.
All right. They are supposed to, but the problem is they haven't been doing a very good job. Just read the Treasury Department's sanctions review or the UN reports on sanctions compliance. We know that many crypto exchanges and wallets are not collecting information about the identities of their customers, are not screening their platforms for illicit activity, and are not reporting sanctions violations. Heck, this is how North Korea has been able to move money around and finance its illegal missile programs. Here's the thing. The whole point of crypto is that it allows someone to conduct financial transactions without having to go through the traditional banking system or traditional financial intermediaries. Right now, millions of transactions are taking place that are completely unregulated with no one verifying who gets what. And that means that while sanctions can make it very difficult for Russian companies, political leaders, and billionaires to move money around in the traditional financial system, there is another shadow, unregulated world that they can turn to. Crypto poses a variety of threats to financial stability, to investor protection, to our environment. But crypto is also providing a new way for countries to sanction-proof themselves. Cracking down on crypto is a critical piece of holding Russia accountable for its aggression. We can't fool around any longer. We need to get new crypto rules in place. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.